Hello everyone, this is Baloj Vashta from Aero B. Today I am going to explain about class variables in Python programming. So, what are class variables? Class variables are defined as the variable that is shared by all the instances of a class. Class variables are defined within a class but outside any of the class methods. Class variables are not used as frequently as instance variables. So, what is a class? A class is an blueprint of an object. In defining objects or defining program, we can use class variables. Now, the class variables can be tell in Python has been an object oriented language since it existed. Because of because of this, creating and using classes and objects are doing downright easy. This chapter helps you to become an expert in using Python's object oriented programming support. If you don't want to have any previous experience with object-oriented programming, you might want to consult an introductory course of an class variables. In Python, the class variables play important role like instant classes, in which the class objects can also be used in class variables. However, in small introduction of object-oriented programming, we can use as the class variables. So some of the examples of class variables. In simple Python class employee. Common base class for all employees is employee count is equal to 0. Def init self name salary. We are using def init function so that we can call self classes like self name is equal to name, self salary is equal to salary. Employee empty count plus 1 is equal to 1. It adds up on the salary. So the total def function display count itself, the total employee percentage and employee count. So it shows us how many number of employees and how many count we have. From that def display employee self, name self name salary. So if we are giving input as Vashi and salary as 10k, we will get name as output. We'll get Vashi name Vashi salary 10k. So in variables, the class variable empty count is a class variable whose value is shared among all instances of this class. This can be accessed as employee count from inside the class or outside the class. So here, in variable empty class, it can take the empty class outside or inside the class among all the instances. The first method, init, is a special method which is called constructor or initialization method that Python calls when you create a new instance of the class. If we are creating an instance of the class, we have to use init function so that we can add up our upcoming things like name, salary, etc. If you declare other class methods like normal functions with the expectation that the first argument to each method is self, Python adds a self argument to the list for you. You do not need to include it when you call the methods. So instead of using the normal statements to access attributes, you can use the following names in class objects, in class variables. If you are taking the get attr, so get attribute gives us the access to the attribute of the objects. The has attr object name to check the whether the attribute exists or not. Like if you are giving some name as object, it will check whether it is there or not in the given attribute. The set attribute will tell us about the if it exists, the attribute does not exist and it would be created. Like example name value. If it is not present in it, it will create the new file or new attributes. The del attribute, object name, etc. In the del attribute, it will delete all the attributes in the given programming. So, for example, if you are going to take has attr empty1 age, returns true if age attributes exist. If age exists, it will print the has attr, returns true. Get attr empty1 is equal to age, returns value of age attribute. Set attr empty1 age set. So in this we are getting the class which is created. Like if you are giving 8, it is creating the attribute, so that we will get attribute age at 8. Delete edit here. From employee age, it will delete the age totally. So we'll get delete attribute age. So age is completely deleted from the class variables. For example, if you are going to check about the class employees, if you are taking a company, from that the number of employees and the name of the employees and their salaries can be identified using the class variables in def function. So common base class for all employees, empty count is equal to 0. Def init self name salary. Self name is equal to name. Self salary is equal to salary. Employee empty count plus is equal to 1. Def display count self colon printing total number of employees percentile d percentile employee empty count. Def display employee self printing name self name salary. So if you are giving an input type name, it also tells with salary. Self salary, this would create first object of employee class. Employee 1 is equal to employee. For example, if you are taking employee 1, employee Zara 2000, and it creates the second object as employee class, and employee 2 employee money 5000, employee 1 display employee 2 display employee. So from that we are getting total of employees with percentile d and percentile employee empty count. So we get output as Zara salary, name Zara salary 2000, name money salary 5000. Total count is 2. So types of built-in class attributes. In built-in class attributes, class attributes can be used in class variables. Every Python class keeps following built-in attributes, and they can be accessed using dot operator like any other attributes. For example, there are 5 types of attributes like built-in class attributes: dictionary, documentation, name, module, basis. Dictionary can be written as DICT. Dictionary containing the class name spaces, and the class documentation string or none is undefined. Name gives us class name, and module name in which the class is defined. The attribute is main in interactive mode. So basis, a possibly empty tuple containing the base classes in the order of their occurrences in the base class list. If you are checking an example regarding it, the class employees common base class for all of employee empty count equal to 0. Def init self name salary, self name is equal to name, self salary is equal to salary, employee empty count plus is equal to 1, it adds up. And the def display count self printing total number of employees and def employees. From that we are giving print option like a name self salary, and printing documentation, printing employee documents, employee name, employee module, employee basis, employee dictionary. The all executable codes will be executed in following result: employee doc, common base class for all employees, employee name, employee module name, and main, employee basis, employee dictionary, so that they all will get print. So creating classes. The class statement creates a new class definition. The name of the class immediately follows keyword class followed by colon as follows. Class name. Optional class documentation string class underscore suite. The class has a documentation string which can be accessed via class name or doc. The class suite consists of all the component statements defining the class number, attributes, and functions. Class inheritance. Instead of starting from scratch, you can create a class by deriving it from the pre-existing class by listening to the parent class in parentheses after the new class name. The child class inherits the attributes and a parent class, and you can those attributes as if they were defined in the child class. A child class can also override data members and methods from the parents. So there is a syntax for this class inheritance in the class variables. The derived classes are declared much like their parent classes. However, a list of base classes to inherit from is given after the class name. Class, subclass name, parent class 1, parent class 2, optional class, documentation string, class suite. So this is all about the class inheritance and the class variables in the Python programming. In this class variables, we can use the def function, init function, class inheritance, and class attributes and type of attributes and built-in function attributes. It will be very useful in doing the employee, class employees, and class names, class students, etc. Thank you.